All right, so to start off with, I have all of these colors because it is sort of a outdoor theme slash hunting. Of course, we have like lots of greens and some browns. And then I have one here that is like a mixture of a bunch of different browns. So this is what we're going to use for this wood grain. So I am going to get started. So this first one that I'm going to do is going to be a deer print. So like if the deer walked through a bunch of mud, and I am trying to do this from an angle so that y'all can see. So it does kind of look like I am off to the side because I am. So I'm just going to start by putting a little bit of black down, and then we are just going to spread that black out over the top of the cookie. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't matter if a little bit of the cookie is showing through. It will be fine. So now we are going to take this. Actually, what we're going to do, I totally forgot this step. We are going to make the outline of the hoof. So we are going to go out, and we're going to do this in black so that it blends in. And then just do a couple little things up here at the top. That's totally fine. Does not have to be perfect. So we're actually going to take this wood green color because it doesn't really matter what color we do. And I'm going to use this other brown just to make like an outline so that we hopefully do not run off the edge. So we're just going to make a outline in brown and try to cover up that black. Some of the other cookies that I had done this design with. So it is very hard to see what I did there, but I did make an outline in the black, and that's just going to sort of give me a starting point for going in with this and leaving that open space. So we are just going to fill this with this brown color. So I'm following that outline. And the reason I'm not real concerned that I'm using this wood grain right now is A, this is supposed to look like a muddy footprint. And B, we're gonna go back over it. Oh, I just filled that whole space in that I was supposed to be leaving. Okay, I have a paintbrush here. So I am just going to remove that and create that space again. Y'all, you should know that if you come here for a perfect video, you are in the wrong place. So we're just gonna go back around and go around that. And then we will go in gently with some black, and that will be okay. So we're just going to set this aside, let it dry. Now we are going to do a camo set, or a camo cookie. Sorry, this is on my turntable, so it would raise it up a little bit. So we're just going to go in with, it does not matter what color you use to do this little outline. Just use one of the colors that you are going to use on the inside. Okay. Now that spot where it just overlapped a little bit, we're gonna go in and just wipe it off with a paintbrush. You can do a lot with a damp paintbrush. So now I'm gonna go back in with this same color and just make random shapes, small shapes. Okay, now I can go in with a different brown. And these are all flooding consistency. They're kind of a thicker flooding consistency, but they're all flooding consistency. I'm going to add, and I do, over here I have a damp paper towel that I keep wiping the tips of the bags off with. These are the tipless piping bags, so you don't have to use a piping tip with them. Even for writing, I have found that I do not have to use a piping tip to write on the cookies. Of course, you still can. There's no reason you couldn't. Okay. And you can use however many colors you wanted for this. There's no need to go crazy if you don't want to. And I just had all of these colors that I was using for other cookie designs for this order. And so I wanted to use them. Let's see, which one have I not used? No, I used that one. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with black now and just fill in some of these spaces. And the reason we're doing it like this is because, like with the wet on wet, is so that it will fill in all of those spaces and you'll come up with a fairly flat topped cookie. And that is what you want. All right, so let's see, over here we have interesting little space. So I'm just going to fill it in with that same color that we have right there. Give it a little zigzag, make it blend in. So this one is done. I'm going to set it aside. You could put something on top of this, like you could write happy birthday, or a lot of the ones that I did, I wrote a number 1 on top because it was for a first birthday. All right, so now we are going to do the wood grain look. And I'm going to do an outline in this tiny bit thicker, to wipe off. Okay, we're gonna do the outline in this tiny bit thicker brown color, just because I wanna make sure that it doesn't go off the edge. Okay. So now we're going to take this, and you can see there are multiple different shades. So we're going to go around the edge once. And then now we're going to go in and do lines. And we're going to stop and do circles. So it looks like the knots in the wood grain. So there is no rhyme or reason for where you need to put any of those knots. Just make sure you add them in. Go back and add in your other lines. You can do large swirls here or small swirls. Okay, and then we're just going to gently, not even really pushing out much icing except right here where I need to fill that in. I'm just gonna go around the edge just to sort of blend the edge a little bit. So now this one is done. So what you could do, because it is raised a little bit, is, and I have this on a board, I'm just going to tap it on my counter, and that leveled it out a little bit. So now I'm going to set this aside to dry. And now we have this one. This one is just going to be written on. So I am just going to ice this in this dark green color. So we're just doing a normal flood on this cookie. Fill in your space. Again, I like a cookie to look very full with the icing, but still being careful not to put too much right at the edge because you don't want it to run off the side of your cookie. Okay, and we have a little bubble right there. Probably can't even see it on the camera, but just go in with your little scribe. Pop those little bubbles that you can see. All right, so now we're gonna set this one aside and let it dry. All right, so on this one, I am going to write, and I'm going to attempt to write from the side so that you can hopefully see. This is my only cookie that I have like this left to do. So I am hoping that I do not mess this up and that we can get the full effect. And it is still a little bit soft, but that is okay. Should have cut the tip on this piping bag a little bit smaller. Okay, so there we have that. That is not my best happy, but you know what? Let me go get one of the cookies that I did for the birthday party just so I can redeem myself a little bit here. All right, so this is one of the cookies that I did for the birthday party just so I can redeem myself a little bit on my writing. Much better, right? Okay, so now we're going to do one of the others. Okay, so now we have one of these wood grain cookies, and as you can see, the top is still a little wet. It's fine. Would I possibly wait longer if I wasn't doing a video? Yeah, probably, but it's still going to be okay. So for this one, because we are doing a hunting theme for this party, I am going to do some antlers. So when I first started doing these cookies for this order, I was putting way more thought into them than I needed to. So just start with a random sort of exaggerated V shape. And now let's go in and add our dimension and our points. So add our points in Clearly I can't do this part while talking, apparently. And they don't have to be even on each side because deer antlers are not even on each side. Okay, and then down here at the bottom, we're just going to add that little squiggle that they have. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that is fine. And this icing, because it is a little stiffer, may need a little help to sort of flatten out. So just help it a little and add if you feel the need to add a little more. So there we go. That looks pretty good. Now the one that is going to be a pain. And I say that because I did it last night and it was a pain. So we have the hoof print cookie. I have a bowl. Give just a second. Okay. So I am going to squeeze some of this brown in there. And going to add a little bit of powdered sugar because we want a thicker consistency icing. And you may have to keep adding a little. You may have to go back in and add a little bit of water to thin it back out if it gets too thick. Just make sure you don't have clumps of powdered sugar. What you want is something that's going to give you texture. So I'm going to add just a touch more. Dip my wet spoon into the powdered sugar. All right, so we are going to use this to paint. This is wet. I get that. It is probably going to be a little soft for what we are going to do here, but we're going for texture, so we should be fine. Let me grab a paintbrush. There it is. And I'm sorry this keeps moving. I will do my best to keep it a little more still. So I am going to take my paintbrush and get a good amount on there. And then we are going to just go around this cookie and sort of dollop it on there. You will see that it is sort of messing with that icing underneath it, and that is okay because, again, we're going for texture. We're not going for a perfectly smooth cookie like we normally would be. So just, you could let this dry more if you chose to. For a lot of the ones I did last night, they just so happened to be a little drier by the time I got to them because I was doing a bunch of cookies. So just dollop it on there and just sort of go back in. I find that going from the side of your brush rather than the point worked a lot better for me. And this was the spot that I kind of messed up, so I'm just going to go around it and dollop it on there. So again, this is just for a muddy look. And if this is not your thing, like you wouldn't do this theme, I get it. But there are some techniques that you could use on other designs, like the wood grain look. Like that would be really cute come Christmas time. Went doing like a cookie that had a like a mantle. You could do like a wooden mantle on your cookies. This would be cute. Obviously a little less texture, but this would be cute on like a gingerbread. Give it a little bit of texture, or like a teddy bear. So you just have to use the tips and tricks just sort of to help you with other projects. All right, so right there, it's really lifting up. So I'm just going to gently go back over it. And I will say in the camera right now, this looks a little crazy. So what I'm actually going to do, we're done. I'm not going to go back and do anything to the camo one. You could, if you wanted to, like I said, you could put a number on it or write happy birthday, write whatever you wanted. I'm not going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let all of these dry, and then I'm going to attach a picture at the end and show you what they look like once they've dried a little more. Because allowing them to dry just a little bit can change the look so much, especially under this sort of harsh lighting that I have going on here right now. So I will take some pictures and show you guys what it looks like at the very end. Thank you for watching. Bye.